Arrested by the ED in a money laundering case. Gokhale is accused of misusing lakhs of funds collected via crowdfunding platforms. Former Karnataka Minister Ramesh Jakhiholi faces flack for allegedly pledging 6,000 rupees for every vote towards BJP. Karnataka Congress files complaint ruling BJP distances itself. In midst of overwhelming response by SRK fans for Pathan, massive protests continue across India. Protests, posters burnt, theatres vandalized. Sensational allegations by former State Secretary of the United States, Mike Pompeo, says there was a possibility of a nuke war after Pulwama attack. Indian duo Sania Mirza and Rohan Bopanna shine at the Australian Open. Mirza and Bopanna storm into the finals of the mixed doubles. Viewers, Newsbreak just filtering in another big clampdown on the BBC documentary on Modi. The BBC film screening played at the Punjab University in Chandigarh, organised by the NSUI. After half-time, it was stopped by the Punjab University authorities. That's the latest. It's a fire that has engulfed campuses across the country when it's come down to Hyderabad University, universities in Kerala, mostly universities also in states governed by the opposition. What we are getting to understand is on the 27th, which is a day after Republic Day, is when in West Bengal there will be the screening of the film in Kolkata at the Presidency College. However, what has gone down in Delhi, viewers, at that level where what happened in JNU late last night at 9 p.m. when JNU students decided to screen the film on the campus, the authorities that had asked that the screening be cancelled, cut off the electricity where the campus was concerned, and what followed was abject chaos. On the other hand, the Jamia Millia Islamia University was to screen the film at 6 p.m. This evening. That screening was also stalled when the Delhi police detained a number of students from Jamia Millia Islamia. The latest now coming in from the Punjab University. Cutting across to my colleague Kamaljeet Sandhu, who's joining us live from Chandigarh. Kamal, what really transpired? It seemed that the film was screened but stopped midway.
Well, absolutely. Taking a cue from what's been happening in Delhi, and we've seen in both JNU and Jamia Millia, there's been an attempt to showcase this particular documentary in Punjab University. As a matter of fact, what we spoke to several of the students, and they told us that the media was deliberately not informed because they wanted to proceed ahead with the screening. But in the midst of all this, the Punjab University authorities found out about it, and they stopped the film in between. But meanwhile, the NSUI president and Sachin Galav, who's the Chandigarh Punjab University president, both have confirmed that the part of the documentary was actually telecast there. And in the midst of all this, the authorities came in and really stopped it. The attempt was to keep the media
Kamal, what is
that they could actually go ahead.
Kamal, where the Punjab government is concerned, Bhagwant Mann as the Chief Minister comes from the Aam Aadmi Party opposition, where the BJP is concerned. What is the perspective that the government has taken? What is the position of the Punjab government on the documentary?
You know, interestingly, the Punjab University actually comes in the bounds of Chandigarh. The Chandigarh University is actually in Punjab, so there is a bit of a confusion because Punjab University is very well placed within Union territory and it's the central government. And obviously, we've asked the authorities about their reaction, but particularly when they know that Prime Minister Narendra Modi government has taken a stand on this, there is obviously an attempt not to telecast this anywhere. The film has obviously been banned from certain social media sites. So this is a very clear signal which has gone down, and that is why the Punjab University authorities actually took the matter into their own hands. And that is why they actually tried to stop this screening in the midst of all of it. But meanwhile, the NSUI has gone ahead and tweeted about this and said they were trying to screen this.
You know, it's very interesting how the dynamics play out, viewers, especially at the Punjab University. My colleague Kamaljeet Sandhu breaking it down. Students' Union extremely active. The Aam Aadmi Party Students' Union WIG is very active and at one prominent positions as well as the NSUI. However, the Punjab University, despite of the local politics of it all, where Punjab is concerned, is under the central government in terms of the administration, and that is the administration that had stepped in and curtailed the screening of the film because it had already been, half of the screening had already finished. Interesting with what has gone down. Appreciate you joining us, Kamal, with that latest coming in from Chandigarh. Meanwhile, the BBC Modi film has triggered a political storm after last night's showdown in JNU. The opposition up in arms and is questioning the centre, accusing it of relentless efforts to stop the documentary from being watched. The Congress, of course, slammed the centre, saying it is using emergency-like powers to block the controversial documentary. Take a look. One documentary on Prime Minister Modi triggering politics, protest and debate, at the heart of which is one question: what is in national interest and where does the infringement on freedom of expression begin? Despite an advisory to not screen the film, a sustained campaign is now underway to ensure the documentary is aired at public places, at universities in particular. Hyderabad, Kerala, JNU and Jamia Millia Islamia. JNU, 9 p.m. 24th January. As students attempted to start the screening of the BBC documentary on the Prime Minister, suddenly the JNU administration snapped the electricity in the campus. The JNU admin had asked students to cancel the screening. Students were adamant, stating there was no official ban, so they were doing nothing wrong. Students began to watch the film on their phones, and then chaos reigned.
The screening or rather the students who were watching this particular documentary, the documentary was about to end, and it was only then when the stone pelting allegations started and the students started alleging that stones were pelted. However, bricks were seen there where the students were present and watching the documentary on their mobile phones and laptops, and these were rather huge bricks that were thrown at the students. And even when the students had marched to the gate of the JNU campus, there was another stone pelting that happened near the main gate as well.
Allegations of stone pelting, students seen running in panic, and soon enough, a showdown between the SFI and the ABVP. An old JNU script played out.
से पूछिए कि पत्थरबाजी हो रहा था, आप लोग एफआईआर कराएंगे? ऑब्वियसली एफआईआर कराएंगे, लेकिन बात है इस समय पे स्टूडेंट्स को इवैक्यूएट करनी सबसे ज्यादा अर्जेंट और इमरजेंसी काम है। एफआईआर जेएनयू करवाएगी। हम ये बाकी मीडिया को बोलना चाहते हैं कि बड़ी बड़ी ईंटें चली है, पत्थरबाजी एबीवीपी की तरफ से हुआ है और प्रशासन और पुलिस द्वारा कोई भी अभी तक रेस्क्यू किसी भी तरीके से इवैक्यूएशन नहीं किया जा रहा है।
अगर यहाँ मीडिया नहीं होती तो मैं पक्का कह सकता हूँ इनकी मॉब लिंचिंग हो गई होती, क्योंकि आप देखिए जिस तरीके की तैयारी है, नीतीश नारायण एसएफआई कैडर हैं, ये यहाँ देखिए क्या कर रहे हैं, झाड़ियों में लाठी डंडे लेकर के। तो कंप्लेंट किए हुए हैं और 1-2 दिन का हम समय ले रहे हैं। वीसी से आग्रह कर रहे हैं कि तुरंत इस पे एक्शन लिया जाए और कंप्लेंट को तुरंत एकदम सीरियस लिया जाए।
What started in JNU echoed across other campuses. Presidency College in Kolkata is all set to screen the BBC documentary on 27 January. While the chaotic scenes of JNU shifted to Jamia Millia Islamia College in the capital. A screening of the film was to be organized at 6 p.m. on 25th January. But right before, the cops swooped in, detaining certain students from the college. The question raised, why the detention when there is no official ban on the film?
I keep reiterating this, कल 26 जनवरी है, और हमारे फंडामेंटल राइट्स पे एक मैसिव अटैक है, राइट टू एक्सप्रेशन पे, राइट टू से एनीथिंग, हर चीज के ऊपर एक बहुत ही बड़ा हमला है ये। और ये ना खाली पुलिस की तरफ से है, ना खाली दिल्ली पुलिस की तरफ से, बट जामिया एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तरफ से भी है, क्योंकि जो हमारे स्टूडेंट सुबह यहाँ से डिटेन हुए वो कैंपस के अंदर सिर्फ अपनी क्लास करने के लिए आए थे और उनको मतलब डिटेन करके बिना किसी बात के ले गए यहाँ से।
Opposition leaders also lashed out at the government, claiming attempts to censor. TMC MP Mahua Moitra once again, this time around, shared part 2 of the documentary.
ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് സർക്കാർ ഇത് പബ്ലിക്ലി പ്രഖ്യാപിച്ചൊരു കാര്യമല്ല. ഇന്റേണൽ റിപ്പോർട്ടിനെ അവരതിനെ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചു. നമ്മുടെ നാഷണൽ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി ഇത്ര ദുർബലമാണോ നമ്മൾക്ക് ഒരു ഡോക്യുമെന്ററി നമ്മുടെ നാഷണൽ സെക്യൂരിറ്റിയോ സോവറിറ്റി ത്രെറ്റൻ ചെയ്യാൻ? അത് ഞാൻ സമ്മതിക്കില്ല. അത് കുറച്ചൊരു ഇമ്മച്യൂർ സ്റ്റാൻഡായി എനിക്ക് തോന്നി.
What is the motive for this documentary? Why has it been released now? While all these questions continue to do the rounds, the students have added another pertinent question to the mix. Is there an attempt to censor and infringe on freedom of speech and expression without actually banning the film? Bureau Report, India Today. The latest scenes have come in from none else but the Jamia Millia Islamia College. The screening of the film has been stalled primarily because most of the students who were going to screen the film have been detained. I want to cut across to our reporters who are in Jamia and also my colleague in Kolkata on what is the stand of the students adamant on screening the film. Amit Bhardwaj live from Jamia, Aishwarya Paliwal live from Jamia, Milan Sharma live from Jamia, Indrajit Kundu live from Kolkata. Amit, I'll come to you on this question which was being raised by many students today in Jamia, which is why did the police detain these students when the film has not been banned? They were really not doing anything illegal, is what the students say.
Well, Preeti, it's the 26th of January time as well. The security protocol is tightened in the national capital, all across the national capital, and we know for a matter of fact that at this point in time, generally protests are not allowed. So what happened today was the police very clearly had said that we have no business as to what is happening inside the campus, whether a documentary screening happens or not. We will not interfere in that matter. But if any protest happens outside of the university, on the gate of the university, which disrupts the traffic, or for that matter, if there's any such assembly, we will not allow any such protest, because on the eve of 26 January, no such protest can be allowed. And that is why you have, even now in the evening, you have Delhi police Jawans deployed here, paramilitary forces deployed here. Along with that, at different stretch of Jamia Millia Islamia, water cannons have been put in place. So clearly the Delhi police had made all the efforts and preparations which could have been put in place in order to stop any protest which might happen here. There's another perception as well that because of the CA NRC protest which had
Amit, stay with me because I want to bring in Milan for the perspective of the students. Milan, yes, it's Republic Day. Yes, there are protests which are banned, but this wasn't to be a protest. What the students were saying was this was going to be a civil screening of the documentary which is not banned. What are the students saying right now?
Well, Preeti, all the SFI students wanted was to organize the screening of the documentary like it's being done in Hyderabad, like it has been done in the Jawaharlal Nehru University. And of course, the students there say that what is wrong in watching the BBC documentary. Now, the clash happens to be between the administration as well as the students. The administrations have issued circulars across universities that this particular documentary is not to be screened within campus premises. Now, when the students and many of people who have access to the documentary through various such platforms that are available on social media, etc., want to screen the documentary within the university premises, of course, these being the biggest of universities in India, whether you talk about the JNU or you talk about Jamia Millia Islamia, there happens to be a problem. And the chief proctor had already issued this particular circular here a day prior because they got to know that such plans to screen the documentaries are being made in the Jamia Millia Islamia campus as well. This is when the Chief Proctor and the Delhi police were on guard, and which is why the Delhi police has taken this action and detained almost 7 members of the SFI.
So what
group
happens now?
in Jamia Millia Islamia.
All right. Okay, Milan, stay with me.
Whom the members
I'm sorry I'm cutting in with the both of you where Amit and you are concerned, but I want to quickly bring in Aishwarya. Aishwarya, with what Amit said in terms of the police stand, what has been the students' stand, I want to ask you now what? The screening was stalled today. Is there a new date? Is there, are the students going to relent? What's the latest?
Well, we'll have to wait and watch, Preeti, whether the students give out a new date. But as of now, it seems like there will be no screening in Jamia. And also the administration has really made sure that, they are on top of it. Let me tell you that this door, which is the main door, the gate number 7 of Jamia, has been shut for almost 5 hours now. They don't want the students to be stepping out. And right outside the gate, such heavy police deployment tells you that the administration, the police personnel, they are in no mood to take any kind of chances. So the students will be categorically told. And let me tell you, Preeti, it's not as if the entire, all the students in Jamia want to take part in the screening. Only a handful of them wanted to do so, and majority of them have been detained by the police. So now, what the students are telling us, those who wanted the film to be screened, that they are now waiting for those who have been detained for them to be released, and after that, they will take a call on whether they want to go ahead with the screening.
All right, so this is what it looks like. 7 SFI members have been detained. The scheduled time was supposed to be 6 p.m. That's been stalled. No new date. But with what you can see, heavy police deployment. Just, stay with me. I'm going to come right back. I want to quickly also bring in Indrajit Kundu. And the reason I'm bringing in Indrajit from Kolkata is, Indro, that the Presidency College has declared that 27th of January, a day after Republic Day, the screening of the film will be done on campus. They might find it easier because the current dispensation, which is headed by Mamta Banerjee, the TMC, has been very, very vocal on the film as well. Many MPs actually putting out the link themselves.
Well, absolutely, Preeti. There shouldn't be much of a problem for the left-affiliated student wing, that is the SFI or the ISA, because the SFI plans to hold a screening, an open screening of the film at the Presidency University, whereas the ISA is going to hold a similar screening on 27th of this month at Jadavpur University. Both these university campuses are known as hotbeds of left-wing politics. We know that for several decades now. Does not come in as a surprise that they have chosen to screen this film for the students there, and it's going to be an open screening for everybody to come and join. And as you just said, the ruling dispensation, the political dispensation, Mamta Banerjee government would be more than happy for the left-wing students to air this film, because their own MP, like Mohua Moitra, have been tweeting out links where people can click and watch the video of that controversial documentary right now. So clearly, it's political posturing as far as Trinamool Congress is concerned, but as far as the students are concerned, they are adamant they will screen the documentary at both these prestigious universities in West Bengal, the Jadavpur University as well as the Presidency University.
All right, I'm going to, all 4 of you, appreciate all 4 of you from joining us. But Amit, very quickly in 10 seconds, heavy police deployment still continues. We can see that right behind you, see it behind Aishwarya as well. What is the stand of the cops? How long will these students be detained?
Well, Preeti, the deployment continues to be here because they do not want any protest to re-emerge, any gathering to happen at the gates of Jamia Millia Islamia, and that is why even the gates are closed even, past 7 in the evening. So police will continue to be on alert to ensure that there's no protest. Okay. But most likely, at least the women students who might have been picked up, they'll be released before the night ends.
All right. I appreciate all of you for joining us. Thank you there. Viewers, one thing that the student bodies, now most of them affiliated with the left student bodies, are saying is the film is not banned. Why is there a ban for them to view it? That is what they're saying. There might be an advisory, but there is no ban. So they're doing nothing wrong is what they are trying to imply. With that, a quick break. Stay with us. On the other side is our fact check segment.
You are watching India Today.
Fali Nariman, 94 years young, 72 years in the judiciary, and as I said, the foremost jurist in the country, Mr. Nariman.
No, not at all. But yes, I've seen a lot of Sundays, if you can call it that.
You've seen a lot of Sundays, but have you seen the kind of Sundays that we are seeing at the moment where virtually on a daily basis, the executive and the judiciary seem to be heading towards some kind of a confrontation, particularly over the collegium system of appointing judges?
I have seen that. But I think it is purely futile. You see, if you want to know the solution, and if anybody wants to know the solution, the government itself has provided its own solution. The previous government, the NDA government, there is a bill, I don't know if you've seen it. It's called the National...
Judicial Appointments?
No. It's the Constitutional Amendment Bill of 2003. Right. 2003. Based on the recommendation of the Venkatacharya Commission. That is the commission over the Constitution. And that gives a complete idea of what really should be there. And if only the law minister would pick it up and brush off the dust from it. It says that a commission, and the commission is certainly a better way of doing things, a national commission with a members which have to be 5, 3 senior most judges of the Supreme Court. Why? Because otherwise it would damage the basic structure of the Constitution, the independence of the judiciary. And then for hoping that there can be some confabulation. But I don't know why we don't pick it up instead of throwing stones at one another. Those who support the collegium system throw stones at the government starts throwing stones back again toward the judges, and that's all the mess.
So you're asking in a way the government to look back at what the Vajpayee government did. And what the Vajpayee government had proposed in terms of the constitutional
and do you know why and you know why it was not passed? It was not passed only because the Lok Sabha was dissolved. Elections were called.
If there is one film everyone's waiting for with bated breath, it has to be Pushpa the Rule. The next in the Allu Arjun starrer franchise, which will be in continuation of its first part. It will witness the clash between his character Pushpa Raj and antagonist Bhavar Singh Shekhawat.
Pushpa Raj.
Fahad Fasil is already a part of Pushpa franchise, and reports also suggest that the makers have approached Vijay Sethupathi for a crucial role in the film.
Pushpa and the flower and fire.
So if at all he comes on board, it surely is going to be double trouble for Allu Arjun's character Pushpa Raj. The film went on floors in August, and building up further excitement among fans, the makers shared behind-the-scenes picture from the sets of the movie. Speculations are rife that the sequel of Pushpa the Rise is being made on a whopping budget of 350 crore rupees, and the film is expected to release in the second half of 2023.
are watching India Today.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching our fact check segment where we bust certain claims masquerading to be facts on social media platforms and WhatsApp group. Claim floating about suggesting Jammu and Kashmir did not snap the internet even once during 2022. Claim is incorrect, factually wrong, fake news. The actual fact, Jammu and Kashmir internet did shut down 49 times in 2022. With that fact check, viewers, I'm going to go into a quick break. When I return, it's to the point.
You are watching India Today.
I suspect the market will not do much in the first half. That's how I would look at it. And hopefully the second half, as valuation becomes slightly more reasonable based on roll forward of earnings, hopefully maybe the market start performing. So let me just elaborate a little bit. So if you look at currently where we are in terms of the growth part, it's a mixed picture as far as the economy is concerned. We are seeing maybe some pickup as far as the basic or staples consumption is concerned, but clearly seeing a big slowdown on the discretionary part of the reasons for that, which we can talk about later. If you look at the investment part, again, a mixed picture in the sense, housing is doing very well. That is the household part. Private sector capex, bits and pieces, things are picking up, but I think the big pickup should only happen from next year, looks like to me. And government capex, will be under through linked to the government's fiscal capacity to spend. So mixed picture, I would say, in the sense, we will do about 5.5% GDP growth for FY24, which is quite decent in the global context. If you look at on the interest rate inflation part, again, we are in a situation where I don't see major headwinds or tailwinds to the market from interest rates. In the sense, inflation has peaked both globally and in India. I don't see any necessity for the RBI to be raising rates meaningfully from where we are, and essentially inflation will decline quite sharply going forward. Having said that, core inflation is still sticky, and it is sticky everywhere in the world, which means the central banks will not be in a big hurry to cut rates also at the same time. So I don't see any, great positive or negative news from the interest rate part also. So I suspect given where we are on the growth part, where we are on the interest rate cycle, looks like we just meander through for the first half. And of course, valuations are still punchy as far as India is concerned. So my hope is, probably you see some time correction, and the market already has seen a fair bit of time correction. If you look at the last 12-15 months, the market hasn't really done much. So I suspect probably the same pattern repeat for the first 6 months. After that, we'll see, depending on how things pan out, and hopefully valuations start to be a bit more reasonable, as I was saying, based on all forward earnings. Hopefully the market starts performing on an absolute basis then.
All political parties traveling from different parts.
Armed with facts,
looking at political black. she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
After CA, the next big campus flare-up.
प्रोजेक्टर के साथ इस कैंपस में ये डॉक्यूमेंट्री चलेगी.
Campuses erupt over BBC documentary. Students on the warpath over Modi documentary. Documentary banned, screenings trigger war. Will this spread and escalate? That's our top focus on the news track. Top Gandhi man's son dumps the Congress party. Cites internal uproar over BBC film tweet. Anthony Jr. lashes out at Rahul's trek of love. Takes massive sycophant and chamcha dig at the party.
All right, viewers, the latest that is coming right now is that Mr. Anil Antony, who's the son of Congress veteran A.K. Antony, has quit the Congress, citing multiple reasons. One, of actually alleging intolerance within the party because he stands with the government stand when it comes down to the BBC documentary on the Prime Minister. On the other hand, in a letter, while exiting and quitting the Congress party, he says that there is chamchagiri and sycophancy which prevails in the party, and people who really want to do good for the party cannot do so. Hear it, the whole report.
The BBC Modi film row hitting the Congress hard in Kerala. Congress veteran and prominent Gandhi family aide A.K. Antony's son Anil resigned from the party on Wednesday. A day after slamming the BBC documentary on Modi, calling it divisive and a ploy by a biased UK organisation out to undermine India's sovereignty. The resignation was triggered by a hail of abuses unleashed against Anthony Jr. by purported Congress workers upset with him for opposing the BBC film.
I had a lot of calls from many places, a lot of text messages saying that I should retract my tweet, I should, let's say, and you are standing for free speech, you say that you are against hatred. But then from 8 p.m. onwards, like all through the night, like I'm getting threat calls, I'm getting hate messages.
Aghast by the abuse fest and threats to delete his tweet, Anil Antony quit his post in Congress and sent a hard-hitting letter, questioning the hate attacks on him by Congress during Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra, mocking it as a trek of love, alleging that sycophancy and chamchagiri are the only criteria to stay in Congress.
I think at this particular point of time, I think it is the right course of action. Because a lot of things that has happened in the last 24 hours, I do think it has been very hurtful to me as a person and as somebody who has been deeply involved with the Congress party all through my life.
Antony said while his sympathies lie with Rahul Gandhi, who he said is surrounded by a coterie of chamchas.
I have the highest of regards for Sri Rahul Gandhi. I personally feel he is doing one of the most commendable things by walking from Kanyakumari to Kashmir and trying to unite this country and give a message of love. But at the same time, I feel so sad for him because of the people he has surrounded himself with. Because Sadly, the people who are with him, the people who are around him, the people who claim to be his supporters are people who are filled with vicious hatred, who stands for nothing which he is standing for.
A furious Congress hit by a series of resignations amid Rahul's Bharat Jodo Yatra called it good riddance.
Instead of giving peons of gyan on the country and things, he should in fact have been doing his work. Who is he? He's a non-entity. Why are you making him into an entity? That's the first question that I would want to ask.
I would not agree that our sovereignty is so easily affected. But as far as his resignation is concerned, he has not discussed it with me, so I don't think it's right for me to comment. I think that he's perfectly capable of speaking for himself.
BJP, in a scathing response, said that the Congress has no place for those backing India's integrity.
Once again proves that no self-respecting individual who thinks for the nation, speaks for nation's integrity and sovereignty can remain in the Congress party.
It is unfortunate that a party which claims to have been part of the freedom struggle, they don't understand the sovereignty and security of the country.
Anthony Jr.'s resignation after slamming BBC's Modi film came a day after Rahul Gandhi had targeted the government over the controversial documentary. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, viewers, I'm going to cut across to Mr. Anil Antony, A.K. Antony's son and former Congress leader, because he just quit the Congress on Twitter. So just give us a minute. I want to also quickly bring in my colleague Moshmi, who's going to quickly take us through. She's been speaking to certain Congress leaders on how they've perceived your resignation. What do they make of it? Because it is deeply embarrassing for the Congress, Moshmi, that A.K. Antony's son, one of the stalwarts of the Congress, has actually, to say that the party is deeply intolerant, something that they've been accusing the BJP of. And then, of course, talking about sycophants, chamchas, which is not the first off to do so.
Preeti, clearly Mr. Anil Antony's resignation has come as an embarrassment for the Congress party, because it is at in the last leg of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Today, earlier in the day, we did try and get a reaction seek a reaction from Jairam Ramesh, and he just slammed the door of the car without even reacting. So clearly Congress doesn't want to give more weightage to the entire resignation row. But clearly what Mr. Anil Antony did voice was diametrically opposite to what Rahul Gandhi said minutes after he put out that tweet in a presser. So Rahul Gandhi, in fact, said that the BBC documentary was in the same light as putting truth to power, and truth could not be hidden from anybody. So that was the Congress's stand, and then the Congress perhaps did not want to be put in a spot as far as this entire row was concerned. More so because the last leg of the Bharat Jodo Yatra is on, and it talks about tolerance, it talks about love, and Rahul Gandhi pitched for internal democracy in the backdrop of Digvijay Singh's statement. This resignation, in fact, actually hits hard at the core values that the Congress is trying to pitch as far as image makeover is concerned.
Well, you're right there, Moshmi. I'm going to let it go at that. I know you're in Kashmir. It's terribly cold and you're tracking the yatra. Thank you for joining us and giving us the Congress perspective. I want to cut across right now to Mr. Anil Antony. Thank you for the patience, Mr. Antony. What is the reason? I'd like to begin with the question. Is it that you accuse the Congress of intolerance because you stood with what the government stand has been on the BBC documentary? Or is it that you're quite sick of the sycophancies or the chamchas that you talk about? Because they're two very, very diametrically different reasons.
See, a lot of reasons are, end of the day, nothing is just because of one particular reason. It's a combination of many. In the morning, I did resign from all my formal roles in the party, in the state and in the ACC. And I written a letter that in a redacted form that I had put in my Twitter feed also, where it very clearly says, it is what I had done very clearly says like why I had done it, and things are very self-explanatory. But end of the day, like when you look at it, like it is very wrong to say that it is because I stood with the government on any view, because that is not what happened. Like end of the day, yesterday, all this started from a particular tweet I made in the morning where I said it was just 4 lines. The 4 lines are very self-explanatory. Even a 15-year-old child can actually understand what I said. The first statement itself, I make it very clear that end of the day, like me and the BJP has a lot of very different political differences. That is all true. But yet I said two things, and both the things, I don't think I have said anything that is contrary to any of my party's core beliefs. I haven't said anything which is against the party's core values. I haven't said anything which is against anything any top leader has said. Things are very simple, and whatever I said in that particular tweet, I can guarantee you that you do a survey among 100 of this 100 people, like 95% of the people will actually agree to that. And those two things are very simple. Like one of them is, you say that the documentary, if you look at this particular documentary, like I'm somebody who is very proud and happy of the fact that India is actually the world's largest, oldest democracy, and I'm very happy, like, and in a democracy, I am somebody who completely believe that freedom of speech and freedom of expression and etc. should be paramount, and that to ensure that the democracy keeps going. So I was never for any ban of any documentary, including this one. And I was, even when my colleagues, my youth congress friends, and when many other people were screening it, I was never against any of those things. However, I said in that tweet, in certain manner, I said something which is, I believe, something which is a concern of, which will be a concern of any responsible Indian citizen. So let me just, and all I said is, like, end of the day, this is a documentary where some of the brains behind it are also the same brains behind the Iraq war, which is actually something which ended up with almost lakhs of people being killed and millions who are displaced. And when people like that come with a project into this country, obviously I would, any irresponsible citizen should be concerned, and I just raised that point. And the second thing I raised is, end of the day, let's say me and you and everybody could have many different kind of politics, but end of the day, like, partisan politics shouldn't come about core interest of the state, core interest of the country, especially things like sovereignty. That is what I said, and I don't think anybody in this country will disagree with that. And I don't know why some people were very riled after I tweeted that. I found it very surprising.
So they were riled after you tweeted that, and they asked you to take the post down. You did not. In turn, what you did was tweeted out a letter where you quit the party, calling certain people close to the proverbial high command sycophants and chamchas. Correct, sir?
See, end of the day, like, what happened? It's a cumulative of many things. But what after that, there were expectations to remove the tweet, let's say apologize, to counter it. Suddenly, like, from different places in Kerala, like,
so you were anyway sick of the, the chamchas and the sycophancy, and this was the last straw, is what I gather.
Like, end of the day, this is not a ambience. This is not an environment where any. Like, this is not the environment which I would like to be in. And
fair enough. So this was the last straw. But I'll ask you a question which you said that you really did not say anything which was anti-party or anti the party ideology. You've been tracking the Bharat Jodo Yatra, I'm sure, when you were in the Congress, and I'd ask you that question on many occasions, not once but twice over. Your leader, or your former leader, Rahul Gandhi, had made his stand on this particular documentary very clear. Your party spokespersons had made their stand on the documentary very clear, which is completely contrary to what your stand was. Nothing wrong.
I completely disagree. Let me make it very clear. Even I have never said that, let's say, the government, I don't know what the government stand is, but end of the day, I have never made it. I was never for the banning of any this or any other documentary ever. That is not what I stand for. Like, I'm not for any kind of ban. The only thing I said is, end of the day, I have concerns. And that is, like, these are the same kind of people who did something else. So and I believe that is a very...
Mr. Anthony, there is a charge which is being leveled at you, which is that you have used this as an opportunity to embarrass the Congress, to embarrass Rahul Gandhi, and also to deeply embarrass your own father, who's a veteran where the Congress comes into question.
My father has retired from parliamentary politics after long 52 years here. He has actually moved back, and he is in a semi-retired, happy frame of mind in Kerala. And end of the day, like, me and he may have disagreed on many different political things, but something he has taught me over time is, end of the day, whatever are your convictions and whatever you believe in, like, you do that. And end of the day, like, I certainly believe that yesterday, whatever I said, it is based on my own convictions and my conscience, and I haven't done anything.
So tell me something.
Nor I haven't said anything wrong. And the only thing I said, I can guarantee you that 95% of this country will actually agree with. So end of the day.
So the fact that you were going to quit and you were going to tweet out that letter, did you run it through your father? Understandably, he's a Congress veteran himself.
Anybody?
So he had no clue. I'm sure he does now. I'm sure you've spoken. What does he have to say?
I have no idea. I haven't spoken to him.
He's not spoken with you? It's such a huge step.
No, I haven't, because actually he is in a village in Kerala attending one of our close family members' private functions. So at this moment, I still haven't had a chance to speak to him.
Well, he's in for quite a shock, I'm sure, when he does figure that's what has gone down.
At one point of time, at 75, when the emergency was declared, he had resigned as the chief minister and had left also. He has done far more shocking things in his life. So end of the day, life has to go on.
Well, all right, okay. Well, you can prepare him, or that could be your rebuttal to whatever he has to say, because ultimately it's a father-son relationship. But having said that, Mr. Anthony, do you also realize and understand that the reason that you're here on primetime television, that the reason that you made so much news purely comes from the fact that you are Mr. A.K. Antony's son? Because when I look at your career trajectory, it's not that you really worked for the Congress for so long. You only entered the party in 2017. So it's been a short stint professionally per se, but association through your father, yes.
Yes, I completely agree on that. End of the day, I'm very happy and proud of where I come from, and that has played a large role in whatever has happened so far. I'm very grateful and thankful for that. But at the same time, let's say when I started working for the party, it was mainly the first formal role I had was in Kerala in 2019, and that was mainly because of the invitation of Dr. Shashi Tharoor and my PCC
So the
president.
question that is being asked, and Mr. Shashi Tharoor has totally distanced himself from what you say, understandably, he's still with the party, is that you really didn't want to work very hard.
No. End of the day, I heard Dr. Tharoor's statement, and we are again saying the same thing. Again and again, there is some kind of miscommunication, because he also says that he doesn't believe in any kind of bans. But at the same time, let's say, it's end of the day, I have certain I didn't say that the documentary is going to
okay. Tell me something. Okay, sir. I'm going to ask you just two questions that and one of them comes from: are you going to rethink about your quitting and resignation? Is it a possibility you could go back to the Congress?
See, I am not. See, at this moment, politics is not something which I am even, let's say, interested in at this moment. I am more interested in my technical work and.
So you're not going to the BJP either, then?
No, I'm not going anywhere at this moment. I don't have any plans to pursue any other political career. I am more interested to pursue my professional career, and I would be moving on with that.
Final question, sir. Do you realize you've embarrassed the Congress and the High Command? And once your father comes, boy, I dread your conversation with him.
No, I don't think I have embarrassed anybody in any manner. It was certain scenarios that has happened in the last 2-3 years, which finally led to what happened. And end of the day, things are what it is.
All right, things are what it is. You're saying you don't want to get into politics anymore. We'll take your word for that. Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Anthony. Thank you so much with that. Well, interesting. Mr. A.K. Antony, the father of Anil Antony, has absolutely no clue. It'd been interesting. You'd like to be a fly on the wall when he actually figures out, or if one is to believe with what Mr. Anil Antony is saying, that his father has no clue. With that, I want to quickly shift focus to the other big developing news. We are going to come down to that on the other side of a quick break. Which is also that Pathan has opened to a stunning box office opening, but we don't quite have the time for that, so I'm going to end the show. Thank you all for joining us. Up next is